If the lender has approved the homeowner for the half a short sale and come up with a purchase price before putting the home on the market, then there will be a 10-day time frame for the lender to make a decision on the short sale. But remember, this only applies if all the steps have successfully been completed prior to the homeowner having an offer in hand. So if they're applying for the half a short sale, you already have it on the market and they haven't been approved, then it actually could take longer for the short sale. So you have to realize that when people say that, oh, it's a half-a, so we'll have a 10-day turnaround, that's not the case unless they're already approved with an approved price to put on the MLS or to market the listing. As far as Bank of America, they have an awesome new program. If you lose your buyer after getting a short sale approval, you can now substitute a new buyer without initiating a new short sale, as long as the terms and conditions are the same as the original contract. So the price and any seller incentives or anything else all have to be the same. You can now continue with the original transaction. You will work with the same negotiator. When you have a backup offer, just send a message to the negotiator through Equator, and then they will respond back to you within 2 business days. If you do not have a backup contract, definitely do not disclose that information in Equator. Basically, when you have an approved short sale, they're allowing you usually 30 to 45 days on Equator to close the short sale. If you lose the buyer within the first week or 2, you don't want to let anybody know on Equator. You want to go out and try to market the property to get a buyer with the same terms and conditions so that you can submit the new offer in Equator and they don't know. As soon as you tell them that you don't have a buyer and let Equator know that you don't have a buyer, they're going to close the file out. If there is a backup offer, the short sale status in Equator will change to marketing. You will have tasks to complete, upload the new offer, and then place the new offer. If all tasks are completed, you will have 14 business days to file. You'll have 14 business days where the file will be closed. So you have to make sure that you complete all the tasks in there. There is a new educational guide available through customer care at www.bankofamerica.com/real-estate-agent, and it'll explain everything to you in detail. Now I'm going to go ahead and proceed and tell you a little bit about the Wachovia and Wells Fargo portfolio short sale process. Did you know that portfolio loans are loans that the bank actually owns? And did you know that Wachovia and Wells Fargo only own 20% of the loans that they service? Now I'm referring to Wachovia and Wells Fargo, which Wells Fargo bought out Wachovia. So through the rest of the presentation, I'll just be talking about Wells Fargo, but it's pertaining to both. 80% of the Wells Fargo loans are owned by 6,000 different investors. A lot of people think that, oh, well, I submitted it through Wells Fargo, and last time it only took 14 days for me to get a response. Or I submitted a short sale offer through Bank of America, and the last time it only took me 30 days to get an approval. Well, it really all depends on the investors, because there's 6,000 different investors with Wells Fargo alone, and that's just with Wells Fargo. So every short sale is different. If the homeowner has a Wells Fargo portfolio loan, you can actually call or email the local negotiator directly, and the local negotiator will work directly with the real estate agent as long as it's a portfolio loan. You can email the negotiator the name and address of the person, of the homeowner, and the loan number if you have it, and then the negotiator can let you know if they're going to be able to work with you directly or if you're going to have to go through Wells Fargo, Equator, or the short sale process. The negotiator looks at a minimum net, which is extremely important. As long as they can meet the net that they are required to meet, then the negotiator is able to pay whatever liens are outstanding. If they do not have the minimum net, then they will come back and do a counter offer. But if they do have the minimum met and they do have money that is left over, they will pay off homeowner associations or condo associations. They've even paid off somebody's IRS tax debt and many other things. The negotiator is able to pay the junior lien holder 10% of the mortgage amount with no maximum amount. So for example, if the second has a $150,000 mortgage, they will pay the second up to $15,000. As a realtor, you need to get as close to the market value as possible and have a good buyer. And again, just remember that the net is what was really important to them. A lot of people think that they can go out because it's a short sale and they can lowball an offer, but that's not the case. The banks, lenders, investors are really, really getting tough on that, and they really want as close to market value as they can get. Can you believe that a Wells Fargo portfolio loan that you actually don't even need to submit any financial documentation from the borrower, and the borrower doesn't have to be behind on their mortgage actually to do a short sale? The lender will only need from you a HUD, a letter of authorization, the contract itself, and then they have their own fast-track form filled out that you will need to submit with the authorization form. And it's just information about the borrower. They will complete an evaluation, appraisal, or broker price opinion, which is good for 90 days. Then, once all the paperwork is submitted, it'll take 7 to 10 business days to get the short sale approval or to get a counteroffer. After the approval, the buyer will have 30 to 45 days to close. If they can close sooner, 10 days, 15 days, or whatever, that's fine too. If the seller is trying to do a half a short sale, it could take an additional 30, maybe even 45 days to get the short sale approval if it's a portfolio loan because of the process for the HAPA approval. They are trying to get the HAPA approval shorter, but most outsource them, so that's why the HAPA approval is taking so long. Wells Fargo actually also has their own short sale program and will also give the borrower up to $3,000 cash at close.
Okay, now I'm going to be asking Kristen some of the most commonly asked questions in recent short sale transactions that we've had. After these questions are answered, you will then be able to ask her any questions that you have. Kristen, when a short sale is successful, are banks typically forgiving the deficiency?
With deficiency judgments, it really depends on the lender. It depends on the homeowner's personal situation. Sometimes they will forgive them. Sometimes they do want the 5 years to be able to go back and look at their situation. Have they come into more money? Do they have a job? Sometimes they'll ask them for a promissory note to forgive the judgment. Sometimes they'll ask them for a cash contribution. It just really depends from situation to situation, from seller to seller.
Next question. Are you having trouble with MI companies approving the short sale? How are you seeing the MI companies respond?
The MI companies, or as we refer to the mortgage insurance companies, they actually have gotten a lot harder in the last couple of years. What I recommend first is you have a questionnaire for the seller to fill out, and one of the questions does this have MI insurance, mortgage insurance? Most of the time the seller knows. If they don't, what I always do is ask as soon as I submit the authorization form to the lender and ask if this has MI insurance. A lot of the time what happens is the MI insurance actually wants either a promissory note or a cash contribution from the seller to go ahead and allow the short sale to happen. So we are finding that MI companies are much more challenging these days.